Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Christopher. Giving you a little update. It's been a while since I've done any videos for you guys, and I'm feeling kind of bad about it. I got a bunch in mind that I want to do, but today's video is going to have to do with something that I did to this beautiful instrument that I just picked up at a steal. I got this guitar for dirt cheap. Um, I did a bunch of upgrades to it already, including these Seymour Duncan pickups. I put a Schaller Mega Switch in. I replaced this volume knob, or not the knob, but the pot, and I replaced the output jack for the guitar with a really cool output jack. But I'm going to save that for another video. I'm going to go over this guitar in depth in another video later. For right now, what I do want to show you, I'm sure you can see I've got tools scattered all over there, is this guy. This is a Zero Glide nut. It's a very, very cool product that I've always been intrigued about. I paid very little for this guitar, so I figured it was going to be a really good vehicle for me to try this thing. So here's the packaging, or part of the packaging, for the Zero Glide. And you can see in the picture, it shows you the nut and there's a fret next to it. So what these things do is they replace a traditional nut up here, which is usually just a slotted piece of bone or a slotted piece of plastic or, carbon fiber or graphite, whatever it is. And it replaces it with a fret so that your action is going to be more level across the strings because a fret is a flat surface that takes the same radius as your neck. It's going to have the same sound as the rest of your frets because it's made out of the same material. Maybe you might have stainless steel or whatever. I'm not really sure what material that nut is made out of. It's probably a nickel type metal, probably. But what it does here is the slots in the plastic part of the nut are wider than the strings, and they're a lot deeper. I don't know if I can get that in the back. Maybe I can. But the slots actually go deeper than the strings. It's tough to see here. But all that plastic piece is really doing is keeping the strings from traveling in this direction. The surface that the strings are sitting on is that metal fret right there. And if you can see it, there's a little L-shaped nut that's made out of a type of plastic or bone. I'm not sure what the material is. It might say it in the packaging. But it's L-shaped. And then the tang of the fret squeezes between that plastic piece and the wood of your fretboard so that you basically just have a fret that your strings sit across. And that's what's making contact with the string is the fret. So your open strings will have the same tone as the rest of your frets going up and down the neck. It's an awesome concept. I love the idea of a zero fret because your action is going to be perfect. And you can see on this guitar, my action is crazy low against that first fret. It's actually awesome. So the action for the rest of the guitar is going to be affected by that. The depth of your slots up here really does a lot for how well your guitar plays. And you can see it takes me no pressure to get those strings to come and fret down against the first fret. Excellent, excellent concept. Very, very cool product. It took very little effort. It was extremely easy to do. Here's the tools I had to use. I have a pair of cutters. I got a piece of sandpaper. I have a marker, some tape, and a file and a set of strings. That's literally all you need. So you can see here, there's the frets that I didn't use. The kit comes with 4 different frets. So in here, they're color-coded. On the end of the fret, you'll see that they colored it. So this guy here is the blue one. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. So they color the end of it because you're going to cut the end of that off because it's much wider than what you need. Okay, so you're going to end up cutting a substantial amount of that fret right off before you're done. So that color is not going to be in the way. It's not going to show up on your guitar. The ones that I was sent is the green one, the red one, the blue one, and the no color one. I originally put the green one on the guitar, this guy. So he's small. He was on this guitar for a little while, but I found that it was too low, so I was getting buzzing. So I ended up going from the green one, which is 0.024, up to the red one, which is 0.035. Now I have 0 buzzing, and my action is perfect. Basically, in order to do this, the nut is also wider than the neck when you get it. So you have to sand it down to meet the width of your neck. And you're going to sand pretty much equally on either side of the nut to get it down to the size that you need. Then you've got to cut one of these frets so that it's the same size as well. And any pair of cutters will do it. The material will cut, and it didn't damage my cutters. You can see my cutters didn't take any damage from it. It cut right through it. Now, when I cut this, the way that I did it was, instead of being a flat cut like this, I kind of angled it a bit like this, so that the tang will be under the fret. Do you know what I mean? When it goes in the nut, or when it goes into the neck, so that there's no overhanging tang on the other end. So I cut it at an angle and at an angle. And then what I did was I used this file, and I just took all the sharp edges off, rounded the edge of the fret itself, and then what you do is you put the nut in, and then you press the fret in between this side of, or I should say this side of the plastic piece and the plastic piece. So the tang of the fret, and by tang I'm talking about the little nub that sticks out underneath, this goes right in between the neck wood and the nut, and it sits on that little shelf that's in there. And that's all it takes. Now, I personally did not glue this. I'll probably end up gluing it if I have to later. Right now, it's in there tight, and it's not going to move. I might not ever glue it, just in case I need to take it out. It makes it a lot easier. But that's really all it takes. You sand down the nut, you cut the fret, and you just press it in. The other thing that I had to do, and it's the other reason that I have this sandpaper, what I did was I just take the sandpaper, put it on the table, make it nice and flat. I put tape on either end so that the paper won't move when I'm scratching along it. And you take the nut and literally just on the back side, you have to sand it a little bit. And by the back side, I mean this surface area back here. It's a little bit too wide so that you can't fit the fret in between the wood and the nut. So you have to sand it to make it a little thinner so that it'll fit in the channel where the nut is supposed to be. And you got to be very careful doing that. You want to, slide it 3 or 4 times across your sandpaper. Check if it's not thin enough yet. You slide it 3 or 4 more times across your sandpaper and check. If you don't do it that way and you decide to just go whole hog and like do, a dozen, scrapes across the paper, you'll end up going too thin, and then the nut's no good. It's going to be too thin to fit in that slot. So that's the only part that really takes a high level of accuracy. The other part that I did have to sand as well is the bottom of the nut. So underneath here, because this was just a tad bit too tall. When you sand that down, you want the shelf of the plastic part, which is in here, to be the same level as your fretboard. And you just sand, back and forth on the sandpaper, very gently. Don't put too much pressure, and be very patient until it's the right height. And if you can be patient and just do the sanding, slowly and gently, you'll get this in here with no problems. It took me, I don't know, 10 minutes to do, 15 minutes to do, tops. It's very, very easy. I think the longest portion of it was shaping the end of the fret so that it's round and not going to be sharp. But that's what it looks like when it's all installed. And it works like a charm. The guitar has zero buzzing to the open frets. You know, no matter how hard I hit them. And my action is mint. So give it a shot if you guys feel like, you know, doing something cool to your guitar. Sound-wise, it's, you know, just like your frets, because it's a fret. So it sounds great. It's set up perfect. And my action is incredible now on this thing. So that's the Zero Glide fret. Who the hell makes this? I can't remember. But you can look it up online. You'll find them. They're cheap, too. It's something like 14 bucks or something for this thing. And it did a world of good. I like it. You guys should check it out. This Ibanez Talman is insane. I'm going to do another video for this guitar that I'll show you guys. But thanks for watching. And see you on the next one. Peace out.